All right, how's it going, YouTube? Got a new toy, the Redcat Gen 9 Scout 800. Um, I have a couple of gripes and complaints, but I first want to say that this is actually something very nice from Redcat for a change. I've already tested it, I've already taken it out, and out of the box, it actually does really well. I've seen people be a little iffy or 50-50 kind of, I guess, on these tires, and me personally, I still think they put a little bit too much foam in there, like maybe too stiff of a foam. But the tires themselves actually feel really good. Um, the truck itself is a very nice update from Redcat. Unfortunately, there is some gripes that I have about it. It's not really proportionally correct, if I will say. I've already put some of the decals on. It feels quite large. It does have a very big presence, and I have a couple of my other trucks here that I'm gonna put it up against so you can kind of see it, because I don't think I've seen a video of somebody do a side-by-side comparison with some other trucks to show you how big this thing is, but it's big. I'm gonna go out and say it right off the bat. It's not a 10th scale. It's like a 7th scale or 8th scale maybe. I do like the fact that they did kind of a full interior on it. It's all molded. It's a 3-piece Lexan body, so you have the outside piece, the hood, and the tailgate kind of all connected as one piece. You have the windshield is a separate piece, and the entire tub is a separate piece with some molded plastic seats. Pretty cool interior detail, actually. I don't think I've seen a RTR with a Lexan body come with pedals, steering wheel, door handles, window roll down handle, shifters, all that stuff. Like it's pretty nice decal, nice cage on it as well, and some mirrors. I'm glad that they sent some extra mirrors in the box, which they do have some spare parts. They actually have some spare windshield wipers as well, but I'm not the only one that's seen this too. From what I've been seeing, my mirrors are broke off in the box. So, I mean, they could have packaged it a little bit better to prevent stuff from breaking inside the box, but at least they sent some extra ones with it. Kind of sucks that they don't fold like some of the older Redcats, but bumpers, not bad. Approach angle is not too shabby, I don't think. Or attack angle, what do you want to call it? Whatever. Departure angle, in my opinion, needs some work, but the back of the truck needs work in general. Because if you look online at actual 800 Scouts, the bumper isn't under the body. It's actually up higher. So they kind of misproportioned that a little bit, or put that in the wrong spot, I guess. I put some D-rings on it. They don't come with D-rings. I had some spare plastic D-rings, so I put that on there. But they, I think they did it like this because they have the hinge mechanism in the back. But they could have put the bumper up a little higher. It would have helped your departure angle, because I don't like the squareness of all of this going on back here. It should be kind of smooth. And honestly, I think the bumper's too low. I think it should be up and tucked in more, but on the actual trucks, it is up. It's not tucked in, but it's up. So kind of different, I guess. They have a really nice clipless system. You just turn the front turnbuckles, I guess, is what you could call them, and then the body hinges up and comes off, and it has little hooks there. Nice cage system inside the body, and you can see all the screws from all the molded parts in there as well. I will say, when you get it out of the box, the stickers on the interior are not in there. So if you want to put the stickers in there, you'll have to disassemble this body. And don't do what I did and start taking everything apart. Start with the mirrors, the handle, and the 4 screws on the corners there to disconnect the cage, and then the body should come, or the tub should come out of the body. Well, I'll set that aside for now. I do think it's misproportioned, and I'll set it next to some of my other trucks there so you can see it. But I think it's proportioned incorrectly. The chassis is a very nice, semi-updated chassis. Nice molded fenders. Nice big floor plans. Lots of space underneath here. So, I mean, you could do a lot of stuff under here if you need to. Big light kit deal, whatever. I think it's got a Hexfly 1040 ESC, kind of a basic ESC. They do get a little warm on 3S. I was running it on 3S when I was out testing it, and it was getting a little warm. The motor is a 550 can, and I don't know, I can't find a direct answer, I guess. Somebody can help me out in the comments. Either it's a 12 turn or 17 turn, I don't know. Divorced transmission and transfer case with a 2-speed transmission. That's actually something really cool. And this receiver box is something a little different I haven't seen. Nice smooth skids, or not skids, sliders. Nice smooth sliders. It's nice. Not a whole lot of extra supports and stuff down here, so it should be nice and smooth. Redcat's typical chunky frame rails. And a flat skid, which is actually something I really like. It's flat with the chassis rails, and I really like that. And they tucked up the links very nicely. So good mark on that. The only thing with the drivetrain I could say, let me see if I can get a good shot at it. The drive shaft angle is very straight when it's got a very large angle on the shaft itself. But it doesn't, I don't know, it's just something. The front axle is actually really nice, I think. They ditched the multi-piece drive shaft or axle, which is kind of cool. Although it does limit how much brass you can kind of add up here. But I'd be careful with the brass on these trucks because it's pretty heavy already with all the extra molded parts and stuff. You got CVD axles in there. Big chunky axles, by the way. Biggest I've seen in a proto axle truck. And a really nice servo system on here. It's, what does it say? Hexfly HTTS, or HXTS, sorry. I think it's like a 30-something kg, but when you put it under 8.4 volts, it goes up to like 42 or something like that. Pretty cool. Nice big strong servo right off the bat. Another gripe or complaint, I think. The shock bodies are nice. The shock quality is very nice. No leaks out of the box. That's pretty cool. But it seems very, especially for the weight of the truck, it seems very, very loose or very soft. The spring rate is very soft. Now, I did already rebuild these shocks. I put 60 weight in the back and 50 weight in the front because it was, I mean, you see how loose it is right now already. It was bad. I was getting some mad body roll and body lean off of it. Also, there's no preload set for any of the springs. So right out of the box, I would suggest doing some shock tuning. But, other than that, pretty cool. They have enough space in this chassis. They could have put, either a cross battery tray, or honestly, they probably could have made something up here, maybe, somewhere. But also, why didn't they do the same kind of rear-facing, or I would have liked to have seen the rear-facing motor, or front-facing motor, where it's switched backwards, so that they could have put a flat piece up here for you to put a smaller battery up front. But, it sits very tall. It's not 4.75 tires. I think they're like 4.53s, maybe something like that. Not quite 4.75s. 1.9 wheels. But it's very big. It's a very big truck, very heavy truck. Honestly, I'd I really do think it's almost like a 1/8 scale truck. It's not a 10th scale. And I'll demonstrate that here in just a moment. Talk about this radio real quick. It's pretty decent radio. It fits okay in the hand. The trigger is maybe a little touchy, and I was noticing that it was a little jumpy when I was testing it, especially on 3S. The wheel, they kind of missed a shot there. They could have done some foam on the wheel, but other than that, the spring feels good. The actual adjustments and trims and everything are pretty nice. They even have dip switches on it, which is pretty cool. You do have a free channel to use, channel 4. Channel 3 is the 2-speed, the micro servo for the 2-speed trans. Other than that, you know, out of the box, I think it was like, I don't know what they are right now, like almost 4 something, 100. I didn't pay $400 for it. I actually got the deal of a lifetime with this thing. Found a guy on Marketplace who was selling it brand new, in the box still, for $150. So I got a good deal finally for once in my life. But there are some gripes with it. You know, it feels a lot better now with the heavier weight oil in it, and some preload. But you know, out of the box, you'll have to, I'd say, do something with the shocks, because it's really soft, and the truck is really top heavy too. So some tuning will be mandatory, especially if you're not using it as a trail truck. If you're using it as a crawler or trying to keep up with other crawlers, it's not going to. Honestly, I'll just say it like that. I think that the ground clearance is fantastic. They could do a little bit better job on, I don't know, rounding off the diff, because it's very jagged and straight down here, and I have a feeling it's going to hang up, and I already think I hung up on the rear. But the body is huge. Hang on, let me get my other trucks, and I can show you what I'm talking about. Give me 1 second. All right, bam. Right off the bat, you can immediately tell that that is too big. Because if I'm not mistaken, the Scout 800s were about the same size as an OG like 60s Bronco, and it's bigger than a Toyota. So I think something that I'd like to see from manufacturers is they actually like stay true to the 10th scale. Because if you're just looking at, for instance, the Night Runner and the F-150 High Trail here, that's on bigger tires than factory tires. But if you're looking at just these two, you know, the proportions are accurate, you know. I think the width is correct. I think the height is correct. I think that the length is correct. You know, a regular cab long box 70s dent side F-150 would be about the same length, if not slightly longer, than a 4-door short box Tacoma. You know, so I think that the proportions are correct, or at least correct enough to where if you were doing a trail video with these two trucks, nothing would seem off. And then there's this thing, which is just massive. Massive. It's too big. It's too wide. It's too long. And I wish manufacturers would stop saying, oh, it's 10th scale, just because it has a 12.3 wheelbase. That doesn't mean it's 10th scale. 10th scale, you know, you're still changing the width, you're still changing the wheelbase, the length of the body, all that, the height of the body. It still has to be 10th scale. It's not 10th scale just because of the wheelbase. And you don't scale up and widen the body like the factory trucks or the actual trucks. These seats are not this far apart. So you're suggesting that, you know, the Scout 800 has about a seat worth of a gap between the two seats there, when in reality it's like, I don't know, maybe a foot of a gap. And I've seen one of these trucks up close, and it's not right. It's not right. It's too big. I like the truck. It looks fantastic. It really does. I, of course, got the gray. I'd like to see the blue in person, but the blue looks better in my opinion. But the gray looks fine, especially with some white decals and stuff. I might throw some white wheels on there to kind of give it that rustic look, old school look. But it's unproportional. And it's wide, super wide. Look at the front of it compared to the other trucks. And like I said, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost 100% positive that these trucks were about the same size as a OG 60s Bronco, the first gen Bronco. Pretty sure they were about the same size. They might have been a smidge bigger or a smidge smaller. I can't remember. I haven't seen two sitting side by side, but I'm pretty sure they were about the same size. They were not this big. So you're telling me that a Scout 2 is the same size pretty much as a dent side F-150 on a lift kit? It doesn't look right. But other than that, though, I think that I think it's a good truck from Redcat. It really is. If you only get in one and you're not worried about proportioning to the rest of the trucks that you have, I think it's a really good truck. It's got a lot of potential. You throw a Hobbywing 1080 ESC on there and give that 8.4 to the servo, you're not going to complain about it. I guarantee you that. Put you some scale stuff on here in the interior and stuff. It'd be really nice. I kind of wish they would have gave you a sticker for back here though. Kind of made it look like a bed. But you know, it is what it is. You know, there is some gripes. It's a little tall on the side. It's wider than it should be. Proportions are off. But other than that, you know, it's a nice truck. Tires are nice. Shocks are nice. Long, but nice. Especially with some heavier weight oil in it. So before you even take it out, I'd put heavier weight oil in it. But it does torque twist a lot still. But it's a nice truck. It really is. I mean, would I buy one for the $400? I don't know, honestly. I really don't. I got it for $150 on a steal of a bargain, but I don't know if I'd pay $400 for it, especially if I have others that I would say are proportionally correct. And, you know, if I did a couple of running videos with these two trucks, for example, it would look right and it would look scale. But if I threw that thing in there, it would just look off. It'd be like the Element Bushido. That's a 10th scale, but it's huge. For example, the Element Bushido is supposed to be like a Suzuki Jimny or something, but it's just as big as an F-150 High Trail from Traxxas. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You know, so I think the whole like 10th scale, I guess, parameters for the RC trucks is off. And I think a lot of the companies need to go back to the drawing board and actually follow what the trucks are. So like if I put a Suzuki Jimny next to that, it should be maybe the length of the cab in the bed. Maybe a little bit smaller. But it should be, you should be able to put them up against each other and say, okay, well, yeah, an old school F-150 is wider than a newer Tacoma, you know? So proportionally, they need to get the 10th scale stuff right, because they still kind of messing it up, and it's a little irritating because they missed it for me. I'm probably going to end up selling this, but they missed it for me. They had a good opportunity, nice detail work, all that. In my opinion, with all Lexan pieces, it's a nice body. Well, and the molded pieces, but it's a nice body. They got nice shocks, nice servo, decent electronics out of the box. Everything's all molded plastic, LED ready light buckets, rock light ready fender wells, you know, stuff like that. It's all nice stuff. It's just they missed it for me because of the proportion. I like the flat skid, you know, the big chunky links and stuff. They even have adjustable link positions on the factory truck, which is phenomenal. I love that. But the proportions are they just got me, I think. I don't know if I like it or not. Y'all let me know in the comments. Let me know if you think the same thing. But, like, again, I don't think... All these front axles are lined up, by the way. I don't think it's right. You know, I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments. Let me know if you think it's the same thing for you or not. Like, It's a good truck. It's a nice looking truck, but it's just proportionally incorrect. So y'all let me know. Thank you and happy crawling.